Hi everyone, I'm Leon, the Home Butler. Version 3.7 brings loads of home anniversary perks, a new permanent gameplay, plus new objects. Let's check them out. First, this version marks 1 year since Home launched. Go to your home and complete the rookie tutorial to claim a free object set of your choice. Increase your home level to get even more awesome object packs. During the Home Anniversary celebration, you can also get a Home Anniversary pack, trade with the limited edition Mysterious Merchant, and more. Also, be sure to check out the new Find 4 gameplay. Use home coins to buy a game table and place it to start playing. Find 4 supports 1 to 2 players. Complete its missions for awesome rewards. Invite your friends to a game now. Finally, there are 2 new home styles to look forward to: Oasis Villa and Charming Cafe. They'll become available at different times. Get the new home items from the Home Shop or Lucky Spin. A related perks event will also be available in the event center to help you build your dream home faster. That's a wrap for the main home updates in this new version. Come try them out. If you have any suggestions, be sure to let us know in the comments. See you next time.
The Golden Dynasty has returned to its former glory, and so too have the weapons their warriors once wielded. The most powerful among them is the Reversal Blade, forged from the Temporal Sands. The power to reverse time is at your disposal when you wield it. It restores crates so you can open them again, and restore a vehicle's health, fuel, and tires. You can also mark your current location and status, gain a speed boost, then use the skill again while it's active to turn into a temporal orb and return to the marked location. Your health will also be restored to what they were when the mark was placed. And that's not all it can do. Find a forging station while you're in a match and place the Reversal Blade onto it along with upgrade materials. After a while, it will be upgraded into an advanced Reversal Blade. Other players can attack while you're waiting, so be extra careful. The advanced Reversal Blade provides a bigger speed boost and shorter cooldown. And it has a special rewind ability that can only be used once per match. If you're knocked down or eliminated while the skill is active, you'll immediately be brought back to the marked location with your health and energy restored to their previous state. When this ability is triggered, the advanced Reversal Blade will break and disappear. The Reversal Blade's powers make it always useful in battle. At the start of a match, land at the Gilded Palace or Eminence Courtyard, where there's a higher chance of finding one. Then collect upgrade materials as quickly as you can. After getting a Reversal Blade, use its rewind ability to collect supplies from crates twice to gear up faster. When you have everything you need, head for the nearest forging station to upgrade your Reversal Blade. Then you can get around the map in a vehicle and use it as cover. Because even if it gets destroyed, the Reversal Blade can restore it. In the final play zone, the advanced Reversal Blade's rewind ability will be your key to victory. There are also other powerful items associated with the Golden Dynasty. The Golden Scepter's powerful magic summons a healing zone that restores the health of all players within it. You also have a self-rescue chance if you get knocked down while in the zone. The Golden Scepter can be used 3 times, and there is a cooldown after each use. Golden Armor Racks also have the power to turn the tide of battle. They can be found in the Gilded Palace and Eminence Courtyard. Approach one to restore your helmet and armor's durability. If you have none equipped, it will issue a set of level 2 or 3 helmet and armor. Think it's a pity that you can only get your hands on such a powerful item in specific locations? Don't worry! With a Golden Armor order, you can summon a Golden Armor Rack anywhere you want. Summoned Golden Armor Racks last 30 seconds, during which they can be used twice. Get defensive gear anytime, anywhere. These items are extremely powerful, and used properly, can introduce lots of unexpected turns in battles. Wipe out your enemies now!
Hello everyone and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Campus Championship Spring Season right here for NA. My name is DK and of course I'm not alone. I am joined by Neptura. Nep, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm just giggling slightly, you know why. But yeah, I'm very excited to be here. I'm no longer sick. I'm actually in full control of my faculties tonight, so I'm looking forward to the games.
Yeah, it's funny that you're blushing so much today, but you know what? I guess it's going to be okay. Of course, we are going to be moving into our grand finals here for the Campus Championship. So curious to see what the teams are going to be doing. And of course, as we know, 2 weeks ago in the semifinals, we had 32 teams just to kind of whittling it out, trying to see who's going to be the ones to make it here to today. And they've put up quite a bit of a fight. But that comes the interesting part, because now we get to see how these teams are going to compare, right? We've got a few new faces, a few new teams that we saw come into the spring split. And of course, we've got a few returning teams that have been here for several seasons. So I'm curious as to how all of this is going to play out. But before we get into too much of that, of course, we are going to be taking a look at a few different things before we actually get into the first few matches of the day. Now, and also I think, Nep, what's quite nice here is today we only going to be playing through 3 games, right? We'll look at those map rotations in a little bit as well, but I think it's going to be quite interesting, especially now that the teams have 6 games. Try and establish who will be the one to walk away with the title.
Yeah, I can't decide if this is better than the normal format or worse for our teams, right? Because it feels almost better where you have 3 games and you kind of go, okay, we need to reassess. It gives you that time to do that VOD review, that analysis, and try and adjust a little bit before tomorrow's final 3 games. But at the same time, 3 games is not a lot. And if you've got all your mojo on day 1 and it all goes away on day 2, you don't have those 6 games from day 1 to back that up. So it's kind of on the fence there. It's quite risky for these teams.
Yeah, I think especially looking at the first 2 matches of the day, the teams will have a great opportunity to get themselves in, right, to get acclimated to what they could be expecting to see come through here. But of course, speaking about acclimation, let's take a look at what you have to say, right? So be sure to let us know on social media what your thoughts are. If you've not followed any of the social media yet, there it is all up on screen. And well, the easiest one is right here on YouTube, because that's where you're looking at this broadcast. So hit the subscribe button if you've not done so already. And of course, if you want to participate in the upcoming seasons and stand a chance to have your name and your school being represented right here, head over onto the Discord and form part of this amazing community. But Nep, you've also been part of the community for a good long while, so I'm curious what you think about this prize pool.
This prize pool is kind of OP. That's a whole lot of dosh coming through here. I mean, I would love a chunk of that, so you know what, DK's very right. If you want to be part of this next season and I want your shot at the prize pool like this, then go ahead and follow all those socials for those updates coming out fairly soon, I would imagine. So yeah, really, really nice prize pool. We're gonna see who gets this prize pool though, DK, tomorrow. It's not too long now before these teams will know who's going home with what.
Yep, the answer will be right around the corner. And of course, if you're curious as to who are the teams that made it through, in case you missed it last week, here we have all of them. So we've got Middlesex County, we've got Seneca B, as well as Capilano A, we've got Wabonsi, we've got Seneca A, Capilano B, Niagara A, Alabama, Kent State, St. Clair, Humber, we've got Georgian, Western U, Sheridan, the NAIT, or the North American Institute of Technology. That's going to be a mouthful to say very quickly. And then, of course, we got Seneca C. So one of the few times that we see 3 teams from Seneca making it all the way into the final. So this could be quite a day filled with excitement. But we do see, as I've mentioned before, we do see a few familiar names in the mix here as well. Right now, I don't know if everybody remembers, but last season, at exactly this point, well, tomorrow technically game number 6. That is the day in which we saw Humber College actually step up and lock it in as the spring victors, right? So not for fall, a year ago, right? That's when it happened. Obviously, it's not the same team, but it is the same school being represented here. So I'm curious as to whether or not they are going to look to keep their reputation going, keep their team presence, the school presence, the name on high, or if we're going to have another few contenders looking to potentially step up and play a few of those upsets.
I could definitely see it from both sides. I mean, you're looking at a team name, a representative coming through from that same winner of last year. That's definitely something that you want to fill those shoes. You want to live up to that reputation, right, as the team coming forward. But at the same time, that means that a different roster is not as scary for the rest of these competitors here who might have a better chance or a different chance of getting that win from them. So very, very interesting storylines being built up here, DK. We're going to have to see how it enters into the first game, what these teams, what these players are looking like, what they're feeling like.
Yeah, and I think also now having the opportunity to have the two respective groups actually meet out on the battlefield, that is going to be pretty awesome as well. And I mean, looking at what we had come through from the semis, there was a few instances where things weren't necessarily as violent, right? There wasn't too much happening. The team's not necessarily always engaging, but that does change up quite a bit the moment that we step into the grand finals, right? Because the teams now know this is going to be that make or break. And especially looking, I think, at today, especially that there's only 3 games, you're going to have to bring everything right out of the gate, right? You can't wait until tomorrow's first match because you might have missed out on a phenomenal opportunity. So I want to see who's going to be the teams looking to double down and really crank out as many points as they can find here.
I mean, does that mean hot drop though, DK? Does
Could
it?
be.
Because I would be down. I'd be down to see some hot drops and try and, you know, get some of that chaos going right out of the gate. I would love to see that. We are going in to a game not too long from now, so we will have our answers very shortly, DK, but I am very interested. And I'm also interested to see what other people think, you know, the viewers out there. If you're watching and you want to see hot drops, let us know in that chat. If you've got a team you're supporting, let us know in that chat as well. We are watching and we will see you.
Well, speaking about watching and seeing, right, there's going to be something happening throughout the matches here today, aside from our teams that are going to be, you know, just showing some phenomenal gameplay. We're also going to be dropping a few Amazon codes, Amazon gift card codes, right? So you're going to have to watch the match to see when that comes up, and it's going to be one of those fastest fingers first situations, right? So you're going to go up, you're going to claim the Amazon gift card, and then it's yours, right? So it's going to happen on each match for today as well as tomorrow. So yeah, we got to watch it. And of course, speaking about the matches, let's take a look as the rotation that we are going to be working our way through here today. We're going to be starting on Erangel, moving over into a little bit of that Miramar, and then you were talking about hot drops. Sanhok, that is the map for the hot drops. It is going to be dropping in hot with all the aggression and suspense that these teams could bring on through. And I'm actually quite looking forward to it. But of course, we've seen this map rotation many times in previous events.
We have indeed, and I'm looking forward to it every single time because it's just so good. PUBG Mobile, man. I mean, Sanhok's gonna be my favorite to cast for sure, but Erangel and Miramar still really good maps. And it's nice that we're going to see Erangel coming in here. It gives the teams a really nice sort of basic map to go for. That's the one they will have practiced the most. And maybe hot drop the most. We'll see. Pachinki? I'm looking at Pachinki. I'm definitely looking at Pachinki. But we will see. We will see. Not too long now. Not too long. I'm just impatient. I want to get into the game and let's go.
Well, speaking about the game, speaking about being impatient, right? I'm curious as to at what time we'll be seeing a lot more of that rondo action start to come on through, right? Because I mean, we've had Vikendi also pop in, make a bit of a feature in the past as well. But these 3 maps, that's been pretty much the stable that we've had for PUBG Mobile, right? So we've just been working our way through it. And I'm curious, you know, we've obviously played a little bit of that rondo action as well. So
yeah.
I want to see how that's going to pan out. And you've also casted a bit of the rondo action.
I have.
I want to see when it becomes a little bit more mainstream, when it becomes, you know, when it really starts to step up into the esports scene, how the teams are going to kind of work their way through it. But of course, well, we got to focus on what we have at hand here today. And we are going to be hopping into that match very, very soon. Now, I think this is the part where I have to ask you a very, very important question.
I'm all ears.
Okay, very serious.
Yes.
What are we looking at for zones for the first match?
Ooh. That's
be
hard.
quick.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. First match, we're gonna be looking at a Lipovka mansion zone. We're going full east.
Full east. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, looking at the flood path, it could very well be on the cards because we are coming in from that northeastern side. So there's a lot of opportunity for that to play out. But it does seem like this is a bit of a cheeky path because it's leaning quite heavily over on towards that southeastern edge. So this might actually work out in your favor here. But now the big kicker is going to be where that zone is going to be forming up itself. So the teams doing the usual, starting to kind of spread themselves out. But looking at the teams here, right? I'm keeping an eye on what Kent State could potentially be looking to do here today, along with maybe, I don't know, maybe St. Clair. Right, because we look at what we had all the way back over in the semis themselves, right? Kent State performed quite well. Middlesex County performed quite well. St. Clair also coming in quite aggressive. Each three of those teams landing in excess of 20 eliminations in the 3 games that they played. So I want to see if they're going to be able to carry that forward here.
I'm too busy looking at Lipovka and Yasnaya. And military base. We said hot drops. We're looking at hot drops. First blood has been spilled already over in Yasnaya. 3 different teams over here. Capolato B being one of those teams, and they've lost a player already the first 20 seconds of game. They've just gone down to a 3-man squad, and they're kind of getting sandwiched between 2 teams here. Of course, we keep saying this. Yasnaya, very big place. You have fairly low risk, even if you are in a hot drop situation. However, these 2 are a little bit too close for comfort, it seems. And we'll see how that goes. We'll be monitoring the situation live as we speak. But Lipovka, I'm more interested in because of how small it actually is, right? You get 2 teams in there, it's kind of busy.
Yeah, it is going to be maybe a little bit more than a bit busy, as we already have the engagements now starting to roll on through. Ooh, yeah, we got to watch out for those the trees rather. So one of the teams that we saw at the back there over in Yasnaya, of course, was Humber College, aka youngest in charge, the YIC. So curious as to how they're going to look to push through the action here. And of course, well, all the way over here, it's nice and quiet, right? Nobody really looking to bring in much contention, as we do have at least 1 or 2 players over on towards that far eastern edge. But again, nothing too overly aggressive, right? So Humber, they're going to be sitting quite comfortably with their points. But as we jump back over into Yasnaya Poliana, we can see those 3 teams still going about their business. Middlesex trying to keep themselves in contention here, trying to keep those health bars nice and healthy as they look to lock it down over in towards Lipovka. So yeah, you said as we were coming into the match, you're going to be checking out these 2 spots as we have all the hot drop action coming in here, but not much really has come from it, right? They fired a few shots back and forth, and then it cooled down a little bit.
Yeah, because I think Middlesex County didn't want the fight at all. They were trying to get away from that completely, but then there was a small altercation. They got that knock, and they decided, actually, we could go for this. But not when Trunks nades himself. Come on now, what is this? This is a little bit of a setback here. Hopefully they can get out of this quick, but I think that's going to be the end of him, potentially. Was that not a nade? Because that was perfect if it was.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful, beautiful lineup on that throw, but unfortunately, I don't think it was the right kind, or didn't quite make the necessary connections. But now it's going to be Ultra Ego that is going to be dropped on down. Ball bunk though, beautiful DBS sprays. And let's see where this is going to go. Will they be able to bounce back? Because I love this, just the aggression coming through here from Seneca, right? They're just keeping the pressure up, making sure that Middlesex can't escape out of this one all too easily. But a quick little bit of a repositioning coming through from the Humber side as well, all the way over in Yasnaya. keeps them in the fight.
Yes, indeed. It's a really nice little flip around we're seeing here. And all of a sudden, Middlesex County have been surrounded, right? They don't really have an out here. They had those vehicles, they had an out of Lipovka, but right now, it doesn't really seem like they're going to be able to do that. They've been surrounded by, I believe Seneca is the team in there, and we'll be seeing how they can get out of that, but it's looking a little dicey.
Well, we're not going to say no to Dicey. Speaking about Dicey, we do have a few shout-outs coming through in the chat. So we got Alabama getting a shout-out there. We have also then the players coming for the side of Niagara getting a shout-out. And there was another one that I saw. I believe that is going to be the players then from St. Clair. So if you are here representing or supporting a team, show them some love in the chat. Give them a big old shout while we wait to see what our teams are going to be doing, as they now need to start rotating up all the way into the far north and western reaches of the zone. But I like what I'm seeing over on Millie Base, because look at that bridge setup that we have coming in here. I mean, I believe that's the players there from Wabonsi that are starting to kind of set themselves up towards both bridges. And that, I think, is a bit of a bold approach to take here.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that. Like an actual 2-2 split on both bridges as a bridge camp sort of thing. It's always, when I've seen similar things, it's always as like trying to get vehicles, somebody's lagging behind, trying to get loot, whatever. Not as a holding of the bridge, but both bridges. That's very, very bold of them indeed. And we'll see how that works out. I'm very interested to see how that actually ends up playing out, because you did see quite a bit of activity over onto the island. And there was like 3-4 different teams there, so could be a little bit dicey for a duo, but maybe that's what the strength that they're playing to, actually. You know, if there's less numbers, maybe they can kind of sneak some shots without being seen, or just kind of get lost in the chaos a little bit more than a full squad.
I mean, that could definitely be an approach for these teams to try and take. And unfortunately, we'll have to wait a little while to see exactly how that pans out and what approach these teams are going to be looking to adopt here. But we do find ourselves in a bit of a standoff, at least for the time being. As you can see all the way over towards Lipovka, things looking nice and quiet. Also, not much really happening over in towards Jasnaya Poliana. So both of those POIs, the teams will need to get their butts going, because as we know, with the blue zone now starting to make its way on through, these teams are going to find themselves in a bit of a pickle once that blue juice starts trickling in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm looking on that eastern side, and it makes sense with the plane path, right? You're looking at a lot of teams having to move onto that eastern side, but that whole south side is open, and nobody is going for it. Instead, you've got loads of different teams around the school to Yasnaya area, and that's just going to be a whole lot of problems for them. I mean, so far, not too bad here, but I just don't like how busy it is when Gatka is open, Ruins is open. You kind of have to know that probably nobody's going to be there. So hopefully we do see some movement over into those areas soon. But meantime, Western U is going to be one of those teams on the bridge. And honestly, this is a vibe. I would be doing exactly this. I'm just going to chill behind this car. You don't see me, and I stay alive.
I mean, that's one approach to try and take here, just to play a bit of that surprise angle here. So we'll find out soon whether or not there's going to be any benefit for them in that. I also did see the players there from Seneca C, aka Seneca Ruby, starting to make their push towards that far western bridge, with a bit of that gatekeep now getting fully solidified. Because initially we saw that split, right, going for both bridges. Mm-hmm. But it does seem like it's now been focused in onto one singular point. So only time will tell how these teams are going to be looking to work their way through this. And especially looking at Western U, they're going to have to kind of get that relocation going pretty soon, because they've only got a 3-piece that they came into this match with. And if they want to kind of push those numbers further, they need to go try and set up. And I mean, you were talking about this earlier. That zone is still pretty vacant. There's not a lot of spots being occupied or even secured.
Yeah, absolutely. And as everybody goes over to that western bridge as well. Whoa, hang on a second. We got a buggy rollover. Very nicely done, Seneca C, being our team of the moment right now, going head to head here. And again, this is what I was just talking about. That western bridge is being very, very occupied. Like, even has, as much as the eastern bridge is not occupied, this bridge is occupied. Oh, almost. Ooh, but the wraparound coming through there. Nice little distraction and backup from their teammate there. And I think that's going to be King just leaving the premises very, very quickly there. Just trying to get any sort of position he can, but there is also somebody on the bridge. So the western bridge being so busy, I think really the team over on the eastern bridge should pick up on that and get out of the way, right? Use the eastern bridge and actually get to zone.
Speaking about Zorn and speaking about the action that we just saw happening in that beautiful rush play, I'm so happy that we are calling these teams by their school names and not by their tags, because there's 2 squads in here with the same tag, right?
Is there?
R2D, yes, the one from Alabama and the other one from Kent State.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm happy. I'm very, very relieved that we do have a slight bit of clarity as to which is which. Of course, we'll only see that when we're actually looking at them. But for the time being, Middlesex County, though, they need to full-on commit to just getting the heck out of Dodge. And doing that with a buggy is going to prove to be somewhat challenging, but it is only phase number 1. However, looking at the bridge response, obviously, though, they are just locking it in as they look to take their first few shots. The spray's now starting to come on in. The rush is up. And this is absolute troublesome positioning to try and play through. But again, right, the defenses being held here does seem to be paying off, at least, you know, for the aggressors, right? The team that tried to make their way across the way. And of course, that was the team from Alabama, the R2D from Alabama that we saw rotating up. Kent State, I don't know where they are on the map. They're here somewhere, right? Oh, there they are over towards Ruins, right? So you can see there's 2 of them, the pink one and the brown one. The pink one is from Alabama. The brown one is from Kent State. In the meanwhile, there's a lot of blue Zorn action going on. It does seem like all the teams in Yasnaya all had the same idea with regards to rotations. Everybody going to the east to get out of town.
Yeah, man. I mean, great minds think alike, I guess, until there's too many minds, and then it's all chaos and badness, because that makes your entry into zone very, very difficult indeed. I mean, look at that. We do have NAIT out in last place there. I'm not sure where they ended up going, but that is going to be Alabama picking up 3 Pointerinos on the board there, and they will not be the last to fall by no means. I mean, we got so many teams coming in through the blue, all relatively on top of each other. I think we're only just getting started with this aggression.
But I think this is a great setup now, especially for a team on the edge of zone to find themselves with a lot of opportunity to get a bucket full of elims. But I think at the same time, it could also prove to be quite a bit of a challenge here. And if we look up towards the northern side, Saverney is open. We did see a little bit of a potential angle that could have been set up there by Team Niagara, but they've decided to disengage and move a little bit further to that more centralized northern positioning. So that opens up the chances for a lot of those eastern rotations now to come through and find themselves maybe a little bit of a safe haven. But I'm also noticing that the team seemed to be a little bit indecisive on the eastern side, right? I thought they were going to go up to the north, but it seems like they actually just turned around and doubled back on themselves to rotate through Yasnaya as opposed to away from it, which, I mean, it makes sense to some degree, but let's see how these teams are going to be looking to piece it together now.
I mean, I think it makes sense with the eastern plane path. They're really not sure how teams are going to be playing around that, especially in these finals, right? So I can definitely tell why there's a lot of hesitation coming through here, but the big point is they got to overcome that. They got to get rid of that hesitancy, because that's only going to bite them later. That blue zone has a lot of teeth, so they do want to avoid that as soon as possible, especially now because we're restricting the zone in less than 5 seconds.
Yep, it's going to get tight. Ooh, especially looking at Coop now with this full-on rush. That's going to be Alabama pushing up on Capilano A. The utility now going to come into play as well. Nice bit of reach. Is there going to be a nade? Yes, it is. Does find a little slither of damage, but not enough to cause much harm. I love this angle here from Batman, right? Batman and Phoenix, they're going to duke it out to see who will be the one to claim this little shack for themselves. Great use of the utility, but unfortunately it's not in there. It's over the wall, and Batman gets made into dust as he gets ended right then and there. Now, Alabama looking to clean it up as they do send Capilano A out next. And that's a beautiful 6 eliminations for them.
Really, really well played, but also super well played by their opponent, right? He got 1 elim, he got 2 knocks out of that, or 3 knocks rather, and he was able to finish 1 off. So that's going to be 1 point at least in his death going on down. So yeah, really nice try and attempt at defense there, but yeah, I mean, you got Alabama coming in there a little too hot and heavy, and they did a really good job cleaning that up. And now they have a really important compound in this next zone.
Yeah, they definitely do. So let's see whether or not that compound is going to be advantageous, or will it just be temporary as the zone is going to start doing its thing. We do have the plane overhead. Well, technically off in the distance, as do the players here from Seneca B, right? They have a little bit of action off in the distance, shooting up towards the compound. And I'm surprised to see that not a lot of players actually have decided to just rush up into that region. But look at the sprays now, as the pushes are starting to make their way on through. Ninja OP with an absolutely OP spot right there, just trying to lock it in, trying to defend the angle. I mean, what a way to try and leverage the Overwatch onto the bridge.
Yes, indeedy. Really nice positioning there in this North George area, because it's so big, right? So it's kind of hard sometimes to know what position you should take in a city as big as that. So a really nice awareness of the area and scouting potential there from them. Nicely done. See just Alabama there on the opposite side, and we do have 2 minutes until the next zone closes up on stage number 3, so you will see some movement here. We are seeing Alabama move on out because stage 3 has gone to the north. We're practically in Zarki, DK.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, right? So the Zaki not too far away. Niagara, though, they're not going to be feeling too much of the pressure, especially with Viper so far up towards that northern side. But looking at the rotations, I might have to start swallowing my words, because that is the exact opposite of what's coming through. Everybody and their friends are going to start to push for that edge, that cliff positioning here. Kent State, in the meanwhile, going to be trying to keep things going as a Western U does find the opportunity over on towards Ninja. Quick little bit of a cheeky repositioning here, but I think looking at Western, this is them essentially trying to just clear the way so they can rotate up towards the north and do what all the other teams are doing to join into the party, into the mess. But I think the zone in and of itself, Nep, is going to be quite challenging, right? It's out in the open, and we did see a portion of that zone being up in the water, so it does restrict that playable area.
I think we're going to see those cliffs come into some heavy play very, very soon. They are playable. We've seen many teams over the years play them very successfully over onto that northern coastline. So I am fully expecting at least 1 or 2 teams to take advantage of that. I really like what we saw from Western as well, because this zone in particular gives them easy access outside of the Georgia Pole. Yeah, Georgetown. It's not Georgetown, it's Georgia Pole. So it actually gives them a really nice, open, clear, calm rotation out of that area. So very nice.
Yeah, well, speaking about nice and clear, there is the code up at the top as well. The Amazon gift card code. Be sure to get that as quickly as you can. I can't exactly read the numbers out because it's complicated, right?
Yeah.
Pause it, catch it, grab it. Off you go. Fastest fingers first. So let's see who will be the one to claim. If you get it, right, let us know in the chat. I'm always curious about these things, right? Just let us know in the chat, because it'd be cool to know. What's also cool to know is who's going to be the next team to go, because we still have 14 teams in this lobby, and we're in stage 3, right? So we've already said goodbye to 2. But with all the action now starting to build up, I think it's going to get pretty sweaty pretty soon.
Yep, I would agree with that, especially when you got little solos hiding out in shacks and trying to take some peeks here and there, but maybe not going to work so well there. You know, 3v1, not always the best, but he does hang on for dear life just a little bit here. Now that zone is moving in, now the pressure is on, and now you do see Western U actually going up against Seneca B, maybe not with guns and fists, but at least with those vehicles and those eyes, they are looking at each other.
Yeah, that would make the match last exceptionally long if that was the full on. Yeah, I mean, this is unfortunately not Star Wars. It would be cool if there was some. It would be cool if there was something of that in here as well. I gotta test you. Gotta see whether or not you passed the test, and you did. So
please, I know my
like,
Star Wars.
Trying to do over here. So let's see whether or not King is gonna be able to survive in that little shack. But I like this range though. I mean, Scorn just poking in, trying to get a little bit of something happening right there. And the same can be said here for Rocks as well, right? Just sending out the utility, trying to force the hand here. As you can see, Niagara still holding it nice and steady. They found themselves those 2 eliminations so far. But are they going to be able to get more? Because they still have quite a strong position up in towards the zone.
This zone is rough. It's gone straight down to those fields. They're so open. We never see a zone going this way. So these teams, I don't think these teams will know what they're doing really, right? Because there are certain circles where it's a fairly common area, and so you kind of know how to play it. This is a rare one. We don't see this very often at all. So now they've got a completely different terrain to work with. And we'll have to see how they all do it because, as you said, there's a lot of teams here in a very small area.
Yeah, speaking about small, unfortunately, it was a small little victory there for the side of Wawansi as they got taken on out in 13th. We are left with 12. And Alabama slowly starting to create a bit of a barrier. They've got those 6 eliminations up, but there's still 4 teams that need to get their hands on a few additional points. Capilano B, and keeping it nice and concise. This could be the opportunity to get those points that they need. Are they going to be able to lock it in, though? Because the full-on send is just flying forward. The pressure is being applied, and this is what we love to see, right? Teams being put in the hot seat. Can you hold your own? Will you be able to survive as Humber looks to push on in? And as I said before, Humber, the school in general, have shown in prior seasons that they have what it takes to climb to the top. Will we see this come through from this team representing them?
It's going to be an uphill battle if they do. Honestly, this push has not gone the way they wanted it to. Capilano B able to really put the brakes on that push at all, and now they have to revive in the zone, heal up in the zone. Meanwhile, Capilano B can just move on into a new position and, frankly, gatekeep them. So really well played here from them, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of stages, especially now because there's a new squad on this turf.
Yep. Ooh, I like this. Nice little bit of a back and forth, just testing the waters as Middlesex County look to find a spot to call home, but it's going to be Capilano B ending it right there. At least for one more of their players, they still have a little bit of hope left. As you can see, the buggy now taking several shots, but that is going to be Middlesex County getting control, alt-delete, and sending right back into that lobby. And the pressure is on as 11 teams now look to fight it out to see who will be the one to walk away with that juicy, juicy chicken for the first game of the grand finals right here. Now, of course, Georgian, they're going to be holding still over on towards the southeastern side, rather. Still a very occupied area that they find themselves in. So they're going to have to find a very strategic, I'd almost say creative way of getting themselves back into the zone.
Yeah, especially with so many teams circling them like this. I mean, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 different teams all on the southeastern side of zone, and that is going to be one more falling because of that specifically. 10 teams now are up, and oh, that was a really nice little spray over onto Georgian there, but not going to get the knock they needed. We do have Alabama, I believe, down in the vaults down here over into the tunnels. Safe for now, but they're outside zone, and they're currently very much getting gate kept.
Well, let's see if they're going to be able to make it out of this one. Pressure is on. I love the setup here, but I mean, I'd love it more if they were inside the zone. You know, it would be a little bit less stress to try and work your way through as they send utility out, but there's another one coming in right back onto them. As you can see, oh, the shots now, just playing that connect the dot scenario here. It is going to be Georgian now going to be looking to leverage their edge on that zone. Seneca B also going to be moving in from that far western side, but all the aggression now focused over on towards the east. At least there'll be multiple opportunities for the teams to secure those points. Seneca C is going to be the next one to pack their bags. Off they go down to the final 9. We are in that single-digit territory with regards to the number of teams. Alabama, the next one out of here. They were doing so good, got so many eliminations, but unfortunately, that is not the only thing you need to get that winner chicken dinner.
It is not indeed, and honestly, this is looking really, really good from the team in red here, Seneca B. Look at that 2-2 split over this final circle in a really, really aggressive sort of way. All they have to do at this point, there's so many teams, just spray and pray. Just go into that smoke, clear them out, and they should have a really, really good win here. Of course, it's a touch too early to be talking about a win. We still got 8 teams, but it's a really, really nice setup they've got going on here, especially when the rest of the teams have so inferior a position.
I see someone in chat saying they're having difficulty figuring out which Seneca team to support. Why not just support all of them, right? there's multiple of him here, so like if the first one doesn't go the way, you go like, hey, well, Seneca's still in it, right? They're still going. And speaking of which, we do see Niagara also now trying to just lock it in. Beautiful spray coming through here from Viper, the OG, just making some beautiful sprays. Kent State gonna be the next one getting shipped out of here. And you were talking about this position here for Seneca, right? I mean, it is such a strong angle. They could just absolutely dominate these hills because the rest of the teams, they're gonna have to work their way down. That's the only approach into the zone. And Seneca, they have this right under control.
They really do. That nade, it just bounces off the tree. Otherwise, that would have been really good, but it doesn't matter. They're low enough, and Georgian goes out with a single nade. There we go. Now Psycho stepping up to that plate, grabbing Manny, getting rid of him, sending him back to the lobby, and this is the final skirmish. There we go. Another team falls, and that is it. Done and dusted. Seneca B with an epic, epic finish. Win our first game.
I think it's actually quite funny that, you know, it's Seneca B, but it's also Sting Esports, so the logo is a stinger, right? So the B, yeah, Seneca B. So well done to them. Well played. Neptura is shaking her head profusely, and that is exactly where that one was supposed to hit. So well done to Seneca B, though, playing an absolutely dominating game. I mean, they locked that zone down the moment that they moved in, and they started trying to play for that approach all the way back from like stage 5, stage 6, right? So they had a pretty good idea of what is coming, and they just looked to get themselves set up, and that's it. Like, this is ours, and we're gonna do everything that we have to try and get that winner chicken dinner, and they got it.
They sure did, and they did it in style. You're quite right. They set that up really well. They set it up early, and they got those elims. They got those points that they needed, and they're looking very, very good for our next game now.
Yeah, looking very good. And, well, we got to take a look and see who did quite well in this match before we get to the next match, right? We got to take a look at the MVP, the MVT, and of course, we'll venture into those standings as well. So first up, it is gonna be the lead all the way from either Alabama or the other one, which is gonna be Kent State. I'll tell you which one it is right now, and the answer is, it's all the way from I got it, I had it. It's Alabama. It was from Alabama. So well done for the MVP there. That's difficult to be with two R2 with the same tags. We gotta figure it out, right? Process of elimination. Speaking about elimination, look at those counts though. 9 elims coming through there for Seneca B. No surprise because they got their hands on that winner chicken dinner. Absolutely amazing. But gotta love it. And these teams, they are just gonna ramp it up from here. That was match number first, right? We still have a few more to go. 2 more for today, and then still 5 in total. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
I think so as well. I think Miramar is probably where we're going to have a little bit of a breather. It's going to be a little bit quieter, but it's going to be all the more chaotic in those end zones, much like it was here. And you know, the zone really didn't help these teams. The game really wanted to give them as much trouble as possible, but Seneca B, St. Clair, and Niagara, say that again, you say that, all with double-digit elims and points coming in here. Very, very well played in this first game.
Yeah, double-digit elims. I see that
Yeah.
all over the place, starting from the team in first place all the way to 16th, right? Because there's 2 digits on the screen. Well done, Ned. Anyway, yeah, the points are looking pretty good. I like the fact that Sinclair and Niagara are tied on 10 points apiece. So that's going to apply a little bit of pressure to them. But of course, it's, as you said before, it's a little bit too early to say exactly what this is going to develop into, because it's only the first match, right? Essentially, there was only one team that didn't get points. One team that stopped over at the donut shop.
Yep.
And that's it, right?
Yep.
So I'm hoping to see, well, the players, of course, or the teams rather, being in a position where they can continue to lock in those points. So Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, hopefully game number 2 will be their chance to get those elims, to get world placement points even to go along with that. But of course, we'll have to wait until we get into the desert to see what is going to be happening. But for the first match overall, the standings are looking pretty decent here. And yeah, we want to see how this one is going to evolve. I love that Alabama, though. 8 eliminations. 6th place.
Yeah.
And that's what they've got, right? Like, who needs placement points if you can just go out there and get aggressive?
Yeah, just frag out. It's easy. It's easy and you know, simple. But yeah, I really like also what we're seeing from Seneca B as well. They've already got a really nice little lead there, like 9-point lead. So looking very good. Again, as you talk about the amount of teams, games rather, being smaller, you need that gap much earlier on. So very nicely well played, and looking forward to game 2.
Yeah, so the pressure is going to be on, so there'll be only one way to get to the next match. We are going to hop into a quick break, so be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you right back after. Welcome back, guys. We're getting ready to hop into the action for match number next. And of course, well, next up, we are going to be heading straight into the dusty dunes of Miramar to see what these teams are going to be getting themselves up to. Of course, already we saw a pretty impressive performance in game number 1. Now, I want to see if there's going to be a little bit of that repeat opportunity coming through, right? Will we see teams being able to maintain that consistency and push it all the way to the very end? Or will we have somebody else look to claim the prize, the winner chicken dinner for this next match? Of course, let us know what your predictions are in the chat. Hit us up, tell us. We are paying close attention to that, or at least I am. I don't know about Nep, but I know that's what I'm doing. But so Nep, I gotta ask you though, based on what we saw in the first match and of course what we saw last week as well, I know you were paying so much attention last week, right? You were just absolutely zoned in on the action.
So much, yeah.
Who do you think could stand a pretty good chance in maybe coming out victorious in this next match?
I think Alabama. They came out really fighting in that Erangel. They probably did not get the placement that they wanted in that last game, so I think they're going to come out fighting. They've already got those elims, and I think they are going to want to come in a little bit more heavy on those placements in the next game. So I think they got a good chance.
Yeah, so okay, well, we'll see. We'll see, right? Time will tell us who is going to be the ones to lock that in. But of course, well, we are going to be hopping into that pretty soon. And we'll show you the map rotation in case you forgot where we've been and where we're going. That will come up as well as to also then where we're going right now. I said the desert. Some people might think when I say Miramar, it's somewhere in California. It's not that one. It's the other one. The one in
I've been to that
PUBG.
one.
Yeah, I've not. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not pretty sure it doesn't look quite the same.
You know what? It is actually kind of similar. It's scrubby desert with a lot of cliffs. Yeah, a lot of sand.
Is there also like an airdrop that comes down every now and again?
Unfortunately, not.
You see, that's the unfortunate part. It would be so cool, I guess, to some extent. But yeah, of course, love to hear your predictions in the chat as well. Right, tell us, who do you think is going to be clashing out? Who's going to be taking those claims moving into the next game? I've seen quite a few shoutouts coming through in the chat as well, and I've been trying to read them out as we go through this. So yeah, if you see your team and you want to give them a big shout out, show them a bit of love, do it. Right, hit us up in the chat, shout out their name. Don't spam. We know that like you're here to show a lot of support for them. But yeah. So Niagara's got a lot of shout-outs. We've seen Niagara get a lot of those shout-outs through. St. Clair also got a lot of that. I've seen, I don't know if it was Kent State or Alabama getting some shout-outs in the chat because they have the same tags. But sure, right? If you're here, let us know who you are here to support. I did see another shout-out coming through for the players there from, I'm trying to get to the tag because I can see it says I7. But I want to see the name of the school connected to them. Oh, all right, there we go. I have it. It is Capilano A. So they have some shout-outs in the chat as well. At least one of the squads from Capilano is also getting a little bit of support. But yeah, let us know in the chat who you're here supporting. And of course, there is going to be another Amazon gift card coming in the next game as well. So be sure to stay tuned and glued to the screen as best you can. Or if you hear me or Neptura say, there's a code, hit the pause button and write it down.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, still curious to see if somebody gets their hands on it. Let us know in the chat if you've been able to claim it. Nep, so you've given us a prediction as to who you think is going to be clutching it out here. Right. With what weapon do you think the final shot in this match is going to be ended? My personal guess, what I'm saying, is I would go for... I would probably say it would be one of the 7.7 7.6 weapons that's going to be used. Is it going to be the AK or the barrel? I'll go with the barrel. You're
missing the ace.
Ooh.
The ace is a really good gun.
Yeah, the ace, I enjoy the ace, but I'd go with the barrel. I think that's going to be the one to land the final hit.
You know what? It's going to be the P90.
P90? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That could be an interesting one. I mean, yeah, B90 is a beast.
It is. It's pretty cool.
Maybe is that maybe too much of a beast? I don't know. let us know. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think it's going to be something? Tell us what your prediction is. What weapon you think
Yeah.
is going to be the one to be used to land the finishing hit, to lock in that winner chicken dinner. Of course, in the meantime, we are going to be hopping into the match pretty soon. So just waiting to see all the graphics come up on screen. So once you see the map list, you know that we're heading off to somewhere. See, there
you go.
Right. So first match done and dusted, Erangel. Now we're going to be heading over into Miramar, and of course, the Rumble in the Jungle is going to be the last one for the day. I think that's where we're going to be looking at the most sweaty gameplay for the day so far. I'm hoping, but I then also at the same time want Miramar to be a super toasty game at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
More so than what we had on Erangel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Erangel, as the first game, as the first map, is always going to be almost the least interesting, right? In terms of that action, in terms of that fighting, in terms of the big brain plays. I want to see more of that in Miramar. Miramar being a much bigger map, sometimes it's hard to get that actually in the works, but hopefully we'll be seeing at least a little bit more of that coming into this next game. And yeah, like you said, I totally agree. Sanhok is where the guns will be blazing for sure, and maybe even a little bit of that QBZ action coming through.
Well, maybe the QBZ could be the one to see, right, as only time will tell. So we're just waiting for everything to get warmed up and proper now, as it is going to be that you can hear the propeller, the faint sound of propellers starting off in the far distance. It sounds like a drone or something. It's not. It's the plane. It's warming up. Either that or they're carting it to the runway. Something's going to happen. We'll find out soon. I've not seen any fasten seatbelt signs come on, so I think everybody is doing what they are supposed to. But I'm curious, do you think like there's one player that if he sat on the plane and jumped down and forgot to take off the seatbelt, that they actually jump out with the plane on their back?
I am stunned. I can't even picture that in my head. That's got to be one of the most outlandish things you've said.
Okay, so it comes from like where somebody, like the guy is so big, when he gets out of the car, right? Opens his door, gets out of the car, he forgot to take his seatbelt off, right? It was like he walks into the shop and then someone's like, "Oh, did you forgot to take your seatbelt off?" It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you still have your car on your back, right? So same thing, jumping out of the plane, forgetting to unbuckle your seatbelt, and you jump out and the plane is coming with you. While you think on that one, we'll get ready to talk a little bit more, because it seems like all that talk of jumping out of planes with it on your back maybe got stuck in the propeller somewhere. So they maybe just reloading it a little bit.
We'll see.
That's what I'm going for.
Oh, and you're wrong.
Yeah.
We're going in.
Oh, wow. I'm a fan of this, right? Here we go. Moving right on in. And of course, as you can see, we've got those lovely little islands down below. I'm not going to ask you for a zone prediction this time around. I'll make the prediction.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Don't worry. I think Monte Nuevo, La Triera, we're going to go in somewhere over there, that direction over there. That's what I'm hoping to see, and that's probably what we will see. There's no guarantee of that whatsoever. But yeah, this could be a very interesting one. The flight path, again, also quite limiting, right? Erangel, quite a tough one. The flight path being so far away from a big majority of this zone of the map. Same thing over here on Miramar as well.
Indeed, yeah, you're quite right there. It's not easy to get to places. Yes, okay, maybe there's a couple more places to get to. Minas Generales, San Martin, El Hazahar, Los Leones, all on this plane path, but there's still La Cobriera is going to take you a while to get to, at least El Pozo, Monte Nuevo, and if that zone actually does go in that direction, then you are looking at some really hot choke points coming through as well, especially when you see these two different kind of sections of the teams. I mean, you've got it kind of split up into two different parts of the map. This lobby is split in two. You got Hot Drop in Graveyard, Hot Drop in San Martin, Hot Drop in Torre Ahumada, and then you've got a whole bunch of teams in between Los Leones and Puerto. So a very interesting lineup we got going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least the good thing for the choke points is the Heimlich, right? That solves a lot of the problems, so they don't need to worry. And hey, look at that, Monte Nuevo, La Triera, it's in zone, right? So it's kind of there. It's not exactly the... I was hoping a bit further, bit more south, but I guess north will work as well. Especially looking at the teams, though. I think Greater Fields and those hills, that is going to be golden. Especially looking at the setups that we could have come through here. I mean, Niagara, again, good read on the zone. Previous zone, they went north. The zone went north. Now they went center. The zone is on top of them. So they're going to have a really good opportunity looting it up. Who's not going to have a great opportunity or great start to this match is going to be the 4 teams that we have all the way over in towards Los Leones, right? That's a little bit too close for comfort. We say that, but it's Miramar, so things appear much closer than they actually are.
True. But I would argue it's the 6 teams. 5 teams, rather. Because there's one of Georgian away from his team. Because how on earth is the team in Puerto supposed to actually move out of here? You've got Georgian on one side, you've got Impala used up, you've got Los Leones and those cliff sides completely taken. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they move out. I mean, I almost would say a rotation over to Valle de Mar. You know? I think that could be an option, but most likely they're going to take that south road, but it's a little bit hairy for them for sure.
Yeah, South Road could be quite interesting. It's going to be a long rotation though to get in. I'm also looking to see just whether or not we'll have a continuation on a bit of the action up in the far northern side, where we can see the players there from, I believe that's Seneca. Sinclair, rather. Sinclair finding themselves in a bit of a standoff alongside either Alabama or somebody else. Right, there's either Alabama or Kent. I'll figure it out. Oh, that's okay. So that's Alabama. Kent is the brown one. Remember, I said that before. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting as to how that play kind of goes where it needs to go. As we can see, Alabama also over on towards the left-hand side, trying to figure out why is that so shiny. Right, I'm getting so distracted by that.
By the shiny.
Yeah, I have ADOS, okay? Attention deficit. Ooh, shiny. Look at that. How can you not see it? It's like, I feel like a moth, almost. Speaking about moths, though, Sinclair, right? They got to light that fire and get charging.
They sure do. They need these points. I mean, St. Clair, they don't really have that many points on the board. Last I checked, I don't really remember, but we'll check that. We'll have somebody fact check that for me. But certainly, right in this game, they don't have that many points. They're sitting on 0 right now, and you want that gap. So Alabama, on the other hand, want a lot more points. They've got a decent amount of points from that last game, but they want those placements as well. They're not afraid of a fight, though. And what's good about this, DK, is that they're not that far from zone, right? It says nearly a kilometer there, but if you actually look on the map, they're really not far at all.
Yeah, but that's where the optical illusion comes in. As I said before, Miramar, things appear far closer than they actually are. Because let's be honest, in PUBG, a kilometer is still a long way to run.
True.
It's not that far to
Running,
drive,
yes.
to run. Yes, it takes you a hot minute. Some people it takes 22 minutes to cover that ground. But you know, we'll see who's going to be able to run in on time. So yeah, at some point, Alabama will need to do something decisive here, right? They're either going to have to rush in onto Sinclair, or they're going to have to kind of just disengage and, you know, move their butts back to zone. In the meantime, it's going to be Seneca B, who will be an absolute presence right here over into the lovely, lovely area as they start to move on in. They find that first opening. So that is yet another player to fall here for NAIT. But are they going to be able to get that full squad wipe, though?
That is the question. We'll see. It could possibly be happening. Ooh. Ding Ace now going to be going down. Seneca B. Remember guys, this is our team that won in the first game on that Erangel. So to go out here would be a real shame. But honestly, NAIT are giving them a run for their money. Oh, but not enough. Not enough indeed. They are going to go out here. Unfortunately for them, no points on the board in this match.
I mean, that was beautiful pre-fire coming in from Psycho on that one. I mean, you could almost say it was crazy. But what a play, though. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But now we hop all the way back over onto Alabama and Sinclair. It does seem like Sinclair are trying to maybe play a little bit of a wraparound game here, as we do have one of their players over on towards eastern side. The rest of the crew, thanks to Delete now just showing us where exactly they're going to be going. And of course, Delete was the MVP from the previous match. Right, so there's going to be a little bit of pressure on their shoulders to see if they can uphold that consistency all the way to the bank. But look at that, though. Right, the zone. Okay, not shifting all too aggressively, just kind of leisurely going over to the side. Niagara using that opportunity to get themselves all the way over into those far western positions. And I'm curious if anybody's actually going to get up into a zone based on just how everybody's playing on the edge here.
Yeah, it seems to be a real thing that we're seeing time and time again, right? Everybody playing on that edge, everybody gatekeeping each other, and in this kind of environment, again, if you're going to be that team, if you can be that team on the other side of the zone and kind of just wait for them to all finish fighting, you're in a real good chance of that top 5, that top 3 coming your way. So something definitely to watch out for if you want to be running over onto the edge zones. They got to be well on their toes. I mean, DK, I'm not sure I'd want to play in a situation like this. That was a really clean spray, though, from Akash.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal bit of work being done there by Akash. Now, Akash still has one contender left to kind of deal with here, at least from what we can see in the immediate area. So it does seem like STG Sinclair might be locking this one in. We could get that squad wipe. They're not out of the woods just yet. They are, of course, going up against the MVP from match number 1. It is going to be Delete, holding it nice and steady, trying to play around those water containers. Utility now starting to come on through. It's going to be Manny. Akash on the opposite end, finding the spray, and that is it. At least then for that bit of Alabama. They still have, I believe, one more player left. We can see a little bit further towards that western side. But this is now that opportunity for Alabama to focus on that zonal positioning, right? There's so much to choose from. You could even go all the way into Oasis and nobody's going to bump into you.
Very true indeed, and that's what you gotta love. You gotta love those open rotations without a care in the world. Just get on in there. It's gonna be really, really nice as soon as they clean up that team. The Seneca beat. We're moving over to them now. Oh no, we're not. We're going over to Hacienda. And no, we're not. We're going back over to St. Clair. I'm just going to shout out all the spectators' moves now because we're going back and forth between a lot of different teams here because they're all on the move. They're all doing something as well as they should. That zone is moving in quick.
Yeah, one could almost say that we are doing a little bit of pinging and bonging, right? This way and that. Hither and dither. But in the meanwhile, Sinclair still trying to figure out how many vehicles they want to take to push up into a zone. And I mean, it makes sense to go in separate vehicles, especially looking at the congestion and the spread that we have, right? You could bump into somebody along the way, and then you want to have that flexibility to try and react as quickly as you can. And I think the nice thing is also now that the vehicles keep moving, we change seats, right? That does help quite a bit when it comes to kind of maneuvering things. And speaking about maneuvering, Piccolo and the rest of the Dragon Ball Z squad here moving up the hills as Middlesex County come up, and they're not alone.
Oh no!
Oh, he found himself in a bit of a pickle on that one, right?
Yeah. He's dropping low.
Yeah.
He's in a pickle and he's going low, and he's going low to his death solely to the lobby. And actually, Albunsi are able to actually pick up. Wait, no, they didn't even pick up that Elim. Oh, that is rough. I mean, at least he's got his position to himself, right? As a solo, he's chilling. I mean, he didn't get that Elim, but he's in the zone fairly solidly, and nobody's going to really try and challenge that.
Yeah, at least we know that, Mateo can definitely lock down that positioning over onto the edge. But speaking about edge, we can see a few teams still hugging the edge of the map as well. Kent now just moving out of that Picardo positioning, as we can see, towards the southern side, making their approach, looking to see how far up they can go. We got Georgian all the way over towards La Driera still, and they could have a few encounters maybe along the way, but I'm going to be looking more towards that eastern side. As you can see, there's still about 3 teams out in the blue, and this being Miramar, you can't afford to spend too much time out in the blue, because before you know it, we are a few more zones deeper, and that distance to zone just gets so much further.
It does indeed, especially when that zone starts coming in a little bit faster, when it's a little bit more damaging, and that's where the pressure really starts coming in. But for now, I think we're seeing a lot of teams playing that safe place of going into that center area and just really trying to not do too much, just aiming for that position, going for that end game, and waiting for those teams to start filtering through.
Well, let's see what filter they have applied, as time will tell. There we go. Manny with a bit of a show-off move there. Driving the car over on its side. It's a skill in and of itself. So far, nothing really to be worried about too much here, but I think this compound here is a good quick stopover on the way into zone, maybe looking to find a bit of fuel or something, just restocking on the ammo. The M24 also just lying on the floor over there, so that could be a great opportunity. But let's see how this one is going to pan out, though, as M4 seems to be the weapon of choice here for a lot of the team. So I don't know if we are going to be seeing that ace or even the barrel being used to land the final hit, but we'll find out very soon, as we still have all 15 teams, well, 15 out of the 16 teams alive, moving their way further and further into stage number 2. The blue is going to start doing its thing momentarily as well, and that will continue to apply the pressure for these squads. And speaking about squads, though, still seeing a few shoutouts coming in the chat as well. So love that, Niagara, getting a lot of support in the chat. Sinclair also getting a lot of support. So if you see your school here, give them a shout out and we'll shout them out for you. But in the meanwhile, we wait to see where this next zone could maybe take us.
Where are you feeling it's going to go, DK?
I'm feeling over towards like Bozo, Greater Fields.
Yeah,
a little bit more east or west. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of feeling that as well. I think it might center up on those teams in the mountains there, just to the east of Crater Fields, but definitely I think we're going in that direction. So a lot of these teams, interestingly, I'm surprised they've not actually taken La Cobriera and the northern side, Trailer Park, all of that. I think we're starting to see Georgian come through there now. I am surprised that it wasn't taken up earlier.
It is quite interesting, but well, we'll have more interesting things happening pretty soon as the good teams continue to push further afield. So Georgian, yeah, I think it's interesting that they have quite a bit of an opportunity moving through Pozo, but Pozo being a medium-sized city, if you could call it that, in comparison to what we have in Los Leones being maybe a large city, there is still a bit of an opportunity for them to play a good setup, right? To kind of set themselves up in a way, if the zone does lean in their favor, to really look and leverage the angle that they might have.
Indeed, yeah. I like what Strand's doing here, though, is his vehicle's on fire. He knows exactly where that fight came from, and so he's just going to be pre-firing that, making sure his teammate doesn't suffer the same fate, and so they can both escape together. Nicely done there, and they are well on their way to that regroup coming through, and they're inside zone. They are happy as can be, so again, a really nice setup from them.
Yeah, let's see how this will play out, though. Seneca, see over here, not moving up too far from where we saw them a hot minute ago. Right, because if you remember back in a few zones earlier, well, actually they have moved maybe a little bit further. They were up in Monte Nuevo not too long ago, and now they've just crept up slowly on towards Mate, who's still going to be holding onto that high positioning here. But it's now going to be Seneca C just pushing further and further, as Stone Cold and the rest of the crew now continue to make their way further inland. And again, there's so many opportunities and positions that these teams could look to leverage moving into these next few phases. I mean, we're in phase 3, right? So there's still a long way to go, potentially, with how these teams could look to play it out. But I like this slight little bit of a leapfrog action that we have, right? Kent also just kind of ahead of them, so there could be a little bit of that gatekeeping happening here.
You know, what's really interesting is we've barely had any altercations whatsoever. We've had a couple here and there, but really only one team has actually gone out, and that might just be because the zone was so contrary to everybody else. Oh, starting to get shot up there. Really nice rescue coming through there. But the zone was so contrary to the plane that actually most of these teams have been too busy rotating to actually do any fighting.
Yeah, I mean, the zone really making them work, right? And I think that's part of the excitement that we have happening right here. Western U though, gonna try and continue with the excitement as they come rushing forward, sending out the utilities. 24 hours, keeping an eye on the clock as they do find the damage onto 24k there. And now a little bit of strafing does drop them to their knees as Levels comes through. I think that was level 16. Yeah, let's go with that one. Oh, but look at this though, Humber down to only one. Of course, one was the last player that we had to keep a very close eye into those semis coming through as they were playing an absolutely phenomenal game. Let's see, will that continue to be a thing here today? Unfortunately,
whoa,
the run is going to stop right then and there for Humber as they do get moved out of the way. But what an altercation.
1v3 at 18 minutes into the game. 14 teams still alive. It feels a little early for all that. GG's well played there. Nicely done. And that's going to clear up another team. Lets them move a little bit more freely as you start to see that zone has actually gone away from where you said it was. It has not gone west. It's gone east, unfortunately for you, but fortunately for the rest of the teams, because a lot of them had actually gone and positioned over onto that side over by water treatment, etc. So it's a little bit easier for them to move on in. Particularly like the position from R2D down to the south side there. It's precarious. It's not going to hold them for long, but it does give them a lot of leverage.
Speaking about leverage, I'm so curious to see what Mateo is going to do. How they're going to look to rotate into this next zone, right? Being the solo over on towards that western side, it does come with a few complications along the way, but that's part of the excitement, I'd say, right? Part of the challenge here for Wabonsi to see if they can get a good secure angle. It doesn't seem like Mateo is necessarily going to be pushing, intensively on that, but we'll find out soon. Meanwhile, the zone does take us even further towards that water treatment territory, and this is now Alabama's opportunity to try and get a little bit of something happening here, as they've not found a single point, but they're also down to a solo, so that does definitely complicate a lot of things for them.
I think it's safe to say I officially cast a curse them. My bad, Alabama. I won't do that again. Does get a little tickle of damage over onto his opponent over here, and he's got to go for that really nicely played, but he does miss all his shots. Oh my god, hit something. He does it eventually, but it's a little too late. There we go. Alabama eliminated, and Capolato B right on top of it.
Yeah, now I keep on wanting to sing the song, but I won't. But I mean, a very unfortunate turn of events there for Alabama. They've got one more game to go. That is going to be all the way over into the lovely Sanhok, which we'll see them next. But it's not going to be the worst case, because we did see those 8 eliminations come through for them in the previous game. This time around, yeah, didn't go exactly according to plan. But that's all, part of these lovely battle royales. Meanwhile, speaking of battles, Capolano B now battling to avoid the shots here as they start to circle around. Playing a little bit of a oh no you didn't. As you can see, Singh also just connecting up with the trees. Mateo there from Wabonsi also getting sent back into the lobby. So we are now officially left with 12 teams and 43 players. And I mean, Western U, right, doing quite a bit of hard work as we saw them earlier, securing themselves those 4 eliminations. But the elimination count now for the remaining teams is all pretty low.
It kind of is, actually. Definitely not the numbers so early on that we were seeing in that last game. That should be a perfect nade, and it is. Niagara losing one potentially there. That is that not coming through. Capilano B, Sing doing his best with these nades, and the nades are good. They're just not quite reaching where they need to go, but it does give him an opening, right? It's enabled him and his team to now push in, and there's a third party coming through a little bit, so they have to be careful of those angles, but it definitely is a starting point.
Yeah, well, there's that opportunity for a little bit of that reparation to be done here. Oh, yeah, it's not looking great. Capilano feeling a lot of pressure. In the meanwhile, Niagara finding themselves in quite an advantageous position here, right? Getting the chance to get themselves patched up, but that might also be quite short-lived, as we do see Georgian now also joining in the fight here. Slayer tries to send it out, but there's so much crossfire coming in. The shots connecting up and helping to alleviate the pressure. Toxic Kid trying to push up the offside. They'll get to see if they can maybe sneak a peek at a little bit of the action here. So we're seeing needs to keep their eyes absolutely glued, or their ears rather, glued to what is happening around them. But three teams with a potential fourth now all trying to sneak in, trying to get their hands on those points to help alleviate a lot of the pressure here. The Mollies coming into the fray. Slayer holding nice and steady. You can see being an absolute nuisance with the utility here. Oh, and that is a very unfortunate play as Capilano now gets reduced to a solo. A 1v everybody else, as well as that potential blue zone closure. The nade, oh, so close.
Does he know how close he was to dying just there? I know he saw that nade. I know he saw it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get jump scared easily, but I would have maybe have thrown my phone out of the window if that happened.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, that was really close. But look at this though, Slayer. Great read on the positioning here, right? Just hearing those steps approaching. Oh, but unfortunate. Slayer getting slayed as Drizzy drizzles them full of shots, leading to their demise. Well, I mean, we were expecting some pretty chaotic plays to come through, and that is exactly what's happening now. From three teams, all contesting for one position, we are down to essentially two. We still have a few teams you can see up on the minimap just waiting in the wing, hoping for their opportunity to strike, but that blue zone is going to limit those opportunities dramatically, as Kent State is going to be team number 11 to make their way out of here.
They are indeed, and now it's just this mad dash rush for the zone. Sing has got no fuel, it looks like, so he's had to get a different vehicle. That's a massive delay when it's this bad or this late into the zone, right? And Drizzy now has a really bad position, but it's all he's got to do to use. Capilano A down to 3. They've got a decent squad going, but they've also got to get to zone. Capilano B going on out there. Niagara with 5 elims, but just reduced down to 2 now. Not looking so good themselves, in Middlesex County now sandwiched between 2 different teams.
Yeah, and it's not the kind of sandwich that you want, but maybe Ultra Ego can get plays going. Speaking of getting plays going, there's another Amazon gift card code up on screen, $5. So go get it, go grab it. Pause the game if you have to write it down. But if you've claimed it, let us know in the chat, right? Curious to see who's going to be the ones to get it. Speaking about getting it, that is exactly what Ultra Ego here is doing from Middlesex County. Looking to get those points, still only sitting on the 1 elimination, looking to find the last finishing blow across the way. But Seneca's not going to make that easy for them at all.
No, not at all, as they shouldn't really, you know. If you've got a good position and the rest are a little bit out of luck, then you don't want to give them that luck, because they will turn right back around and fight you with it. So definitely a really nice position coming in from them. Middlesex County is out, and you just can't get sandwiched. It's a nasty kind of smothering going on over there, so you gotta go back to the lobby with that one. And Niagara really bringing in the heat when it comes to all this spraying and praying they're doing. 6 elims on the board so far, fighting tooth and claw to get into this next zone.
Well, Let's see if they'll be able to get that one going, though. Seneca B going to be the next team to fall. So down to the final 6 we go. 16 players alive, and it's going to be a full send to the south and the north, as we can see the teams now splitting up, taking on fights where they deem it appropriate. But I like this here for Niagara. Just sneaking their way on up, trying to find a bit of an opportune angle to take here as they patiently await the demise of several more of the opposing squads. Western U going to be the next one down. As the numbers now start to dwindle, right? We're having fewer and fewer players as Clueless now also gets knocked. Oh, look at that!
Aw.
Absolutely crazy play. Capilano trying to make a push here, but Sinclair, Akash, just locking it in. So far, Sinclair coming through with 7 eliminations, partially leading the charge here.
Yeah, very, very well done from this team. They're really fighting for it, and now they have a really good chance of winning this whole thing, right? Look at them in zone. They've got an entire side of zone to themselves. The other 3 teams are all fighting amongst themselves on the other side of zone. So right now, they're actually looking like they have the run of the place.
It does seem that way. But here also, we've got what's left of Sheridan holding on to last little bit of zone. In the next 5 seconds or so, that blue is going to start closing up again, taking us towards stage number 8. So anybody who's not within zone is going to be feeling a lot of damage as that blue zone will start to do its thing. But now it's going to be some drastic, crazy trading in and around the vehicle. Sheridan going to get backed up and shipped out of here. Down to the final 3 we go. But I mean, for Niagara, it is looking pretty good here. They have 2 players left, sure, but they've been able to find those 7 eliminations. Look at the reach of the utilities now, trying to kind of limit their rotation as Niagara starts to push on forward, just making their way onto the edge there. And the utilities now doing exactly what they should. Sinclair down to, well, the chicken, as Seneca gets absolutely obliterated. That blue zone being so dang devastating.
Absolutely. What a game from them, and that is how you win a game like that. You don't wait for those teams to come to you into the zone. You go to them and push them out into the blue. Really make them pay for their crimes of just being there in the zone when you want that win. So real GG's going over to St. Clair for this one. Very nicely done indeed.
Well, yeah, winner, chicken dinner, going all the way right towards them. And it was about time. It was about time. They came kind of close, right, in the first match. So I think this is now a good kind of continuation of the efforts that they brought into the first match, pulling it through. But the hard work is going to come, taking it to the next one as well, right? Following up into the final match of the day. Fortunately, it's going to be a map on which the teams could look to get super aggressive, right? That's kind of what we hope to see, right? Hot drops. That's the map to do it on out of these 3. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we get there, of course, we need to take a look to see who our MVP is, who our MVT is, what the point situation is, and then where the teams find themselves. So there's still quite a bit to work through here. So who do you think is our MVP before we get to see?
Oh, it's gotta be a Cash. It's gotta be, right? He had some real gems of some 1v1s there. It could be, I don't remember his name, but the guy who did the 1v3 as well earlier in the game was really good as well. So I'm not sure. It could be one of those 2.
Well, here we go. Let's find out. Well, there we go. It's going to be Ace. Ooh. Ace OP all the way from Seneca, locking it in, coming through, just, playing a phenomenal game yet again. Seneca B with some strong representation, right? They got the MVT and the chicken in the first match, got MVP over in game number next. And of course, it is going to be Sinclair to walk away with that MVP. 9 eliminations and nearly 1,400 damage, just falling 5 shy of locking in 1,400. So still an amazing conversion coming through here. A lot of aggression getting shown out on the battlefield. And I'm expecting to see even higher numbers as we rumble in the jungle. But so far for the desert, things looking pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Very good indeed for St. Clair. I mean, I believe they were in the top 8 coming into this game, and right now this should put them, at the very top. But they are tied with Seneca B here, 29-29, and even though there is a difference in who got more elims and who got more placements, it comes out to the same total. So a really, really nice show from both of these teams.
Yeah, and we do see a lot of support coming through for both teams in the chat, so it makes a whole lot of sense. And in fact,
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of support across the board here. But I like the fact that Niagara is also still holding nice and steady, also keeping their foot in the door, coming through with those 22 points and only 7 points behind the top, right? So we do take a bit of a drop off, right, by half, by 11 points, all the way to Seneca and Western U coming in right behind them. But ideally, where you want to try and finish up is where Georgian is. Right, at least at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're up in the top 6 with a decent amount of points, because as we know, the prize pool only extends to 6th place, right? So you're going to try your absolute best to make it all the way to that. But it's unfortunate that we've not really seen Northern Alberta getting more points on board, right? It seems like they're having a fun time over at the donut shop, right? We want to see those extra points, or at least just a point, right, making its way over towards them in the next game. So hopefully Sanhok is going to be the match in which we see them do that. We could also potentially maybe see Wabunsi also securing themselves a few additional points, right? Because they've been trying, but it's not been working out just yet. So maybe Sanhok is the one where it all just unlocks for them. And of course, there's only going to be one way for us to find out what the teams are going to be doing there. We're going to have to venture into a break. So I don't know if we're going to a break just yet, because I've not heard the word break yet. So we'll just sit here and make a bit of noise. But yeah, that's the gear. So we are going to be heading into break. So stay tuned and we'll see you guys back in a short few moments.
dog with a crep on his face.
That was a crap.
Yeah. I want crep. That's dark.
Welcome everybody, we are back with the PUBG Mobile Campus Championship Spring Split right here for 2025 over in North America, but you know that already, right? So we're getting ready to move into the last match of the day, and we're going to be heading into the jungle. A little bit of that Sanhok action to see what the teams are going to be doing, who's going to be the team to sit at the top of the log right here for the first day, before we get into the last day, right? Because that's kind of how the progression works, right? So based on all the progression that we've looked at, I think maybe the jungle is going to be a crazy one, right? Based on how the teams are really getting quite involved once they find each other on the map, right? Miramar, it's a large map. It takes some time to spot somebody. And I mean, you could be rotating up alongside a team and they're just on the other side of the hill, and that's the way you don't see them, right? And meanwhile, you were so close to them all this time, and then you only find out when you get into a different spot a little bit later on. But that's not going to be the case over on Sanhok, because even if you whisper, somebody on the other side of the map can hear you.
It's very true. It's a much, much smaller map we're going to. These teams like to play on the edge, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, I think, now coming in to a smaller map. It's going to be a lot of chaos, going to be a lot of fights, going to be a lot of hot drops as well, right? Because for 16 teams, there's not that much land to go around. So very excited for this one. I mean, we've been kind of hyping up Sanhok all evening, and we'll do it again tomorrow, because this is the game you guys don't want to miss for sure.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? It's going to be a hot and crazy game. At least from what we've seen in the previous seasons of the action here. So I'm expecting quite a lot to come through on this one. And, well, of course, we're going to slowly start making our way up towards that. So I'm curious as to who will be the one to reign supreme, right? Which team is going to be the one to lock it in and say, you know what, this is us, this is the points that we get, and this is where we're going to be going. So, yeah, we'll head into that very, very soon. We're just waiting again for... Apparently there was a bush or something that got stuck in the wheel of the plane. Right. Okay. That's what happens when you fly into the jungle. It makes a whole lot of sense, right? So you gotta be very, very careful as to how you take these approaches. It's always the trick, right? Like you gotta find that right angle. And then of course you got those Chungus Mountains in there as Imperium would say, yeah, the Chungus Mountains, the northwestern island. Right? Okay, got it. So you got to watch out how you come in. It's quite a bit of a challenge. So yeah. You got to watch out. You don't want to lose the prop along the way, because then the players need to get out, and it's not where they wanted to go, and it's a whole thing. So
it's a whole mess.
Yeah, you got to do the safety checks, and then check that the safety check has been checked. Check it so that you can go. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Total makes sense. Absolutely, 100%. The other thing we have to talk about, though, very quickly, I want to bring up, DK, is the fact that this is the halfway point now. This last game is the halfway point in the finals. This is really where that pressure starts to build, right? Because you've not only got the final game of the night, so you got to get as many points as possible before you get into the, before you stop for the night. It's also, you've only got 3 more games left.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite enlightening to hear, but I'm curious as to how these teams are going to be looking to push through, as we want to see the teams really up the ante, right? I mean, they had a bit of an opportunity, a bit of progression coming through the previous games, and now it's going to be go time, right? So let it loose. We'll hopefully be able to shine a bit of light on the action as we make our way through that. But you know, it's going to be a very touch and go approach to see exactly where these teams are going to be ending up. And I think the big question that I have to ask you here is, where would you want the zone to go? Are we going to go to Trifecta? Are we going to go a little bit more towards the eastern side, maybe up north? Is it going to go down south? Where do you think we're going to end up? Also, I forgot to see if the final hit was dealt with a barrel or an ace. But I think with the M4 in the previous game. Yeah. I'll just rewind and go take a quick look again. But
yeah, please do.
Where do you think we're going to be heading?
I would like north, Paradise Cow. I want that. We don't get that very often. We always get Trifecta. Either that or straight south over Caves, because Caves is also always super interesting as an end zone.
Yeah, I think Caves, Caves is definitely not a position that we see a lot of happening all too often, right? Like, I think Caves, if it gets played, it would be so interesting to see that that really coming out here. And it does seem like, I think the final hits, the last hit that I could see was dealt with an M4, and then the blue zone did its thing. So
makes sense.
We all missed it out. We all missed that one. The blue zone was the one to deal the final devastating blow. Speaking of blows, yeah, we'll see what goes as we make it up into the jungle, right? It should be coming up right about soon. And this is going to be that big old test, right? And I know that's a very precise way of saying things, and Nature is a huge fan of that. Like, she's sitting there clapping hands. I can just, like...
Yeah, I'm really cheering in the background. Just like, wow, DK. So awesome. Yeah, totally. But I'm going to pose you the same question, DK. Where's the zone going?
Where's the zone going? I want to see it go towards Paradise. Right, not Paradise itself, but just to the southwest of Paradise, onto those fields. You've got a little bit of that odd terrain there, a little bit of dips and valleys, and I want to see it go there. Right,
nice.
I want it in that area. I know it's a weird random spot to choose, but that's where I want it to go. That's the thing that popped into my head. Yes, I want to see it go there. Will it go there? I don't know. We'll find out soon. But yeah, be sure to drop your predictions in the chat as well, right? If you're watching, I see that we've got a lot of support coming through for our teams here as well. But let us know, who do you think is going to be taking the final game here for the day, as the letters fly into our faces as we make our way on down. And I think this is also a nice thing about the map of Sanhok, is the flight path. It doesn't matter all too much, right? It's all got to do with where these zones go.
Very true indeed, and we're starting to see where the teams are going as we wait for where that zone's gonna go. We already got some inhabitants for Kampong. You got a lot of teams going down to that south side as well. We're seeing some groups, though. Hopefully a couple of hot drops coming through here. Boot camp could get a little busy. We're also seeing three different teams going over to the Bond Quarry area, and a couple of teams all moving on to that island as well. So a nice little split, but all right. So it's not going to go to Cow, but it could go to your fields, and it could go to Cave. So looking like a pretty decent zone coming here.
Yeah, it could definitely be a very interesting zone coming through here. I'm going to be looking up into towards that northwestern island. We've got quite a bit of contention going through there. Speaking about contention, Capilano B find themselves in a bit of a troubling spot here, as they've been dropped down to a two-piece. No, they only lost that one player. I was getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, Capilano B. Now you got to be careful. Don't want to get caught out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the worst part is that there's reinforcements coming, but not for them. Call an ambulance, but not for me. That's the vibe that we're getting here, because this is where RTD are really moving in and making that push. And there we go. Alabama getting that first. We might get a second here. They're just trying to envelop this this compound. There we go. That's a very, very easy knock there. That's 3 points. So already, DK, I mean, I said Alabama should have won the last game, but they went out early, not really any points on the board, and here they go with 3 already.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good day in the jungle so far for Alabama. Now they've got to keep that consistency going, and of course, in the meanwhile, we are going to be moving all the way over towards Camp Charlie, as we can see teams now getting their loot sorted, making sure that they've got everything that they would want to move through these games. But again, right, I want to see just how far these teams are going to be pushing, right? Are they going to look to get a little bit more feisty here? Go out and, you know, look to play a few upsets? Because, I mean, Sheridan, they've been doing a few things today, but we've not been seeing so much come through from Sheridan's side so far.
Yeah. No, they've been playing that slow and quiet game, which I can appreciate. You know, maybe they're saving all of their input for tomorrow's games, and in the meantime, just trying to stay ahead of the most of the crowd here. But we'll see how that goes for them. Western U is just going to be watching and waiting over, I believe this to be Kent State, right? But looking forward to that altercation as well. So far, just a solo here, right? We're not looking to go too far into this. He's just going to be using that scout role, using this guard tower to just scout out a little bit here because they're in zone. They can wait. They have time.
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of time available to them here. But Western, I'm curious as to whether or not they're going to look to act on the information that they're gathering right here. And it looks like that could maybe be what they're opting for. As you can see, the rest of the team moving through from the north. So Western could look to play quite a bit of an angle onto the side here of Sheridan. And I mean, like, looking at Sheridan, they came into this match sitting with 9 points, right? Western U 2 points more than them. So there's still a bit of a competition to be had between both those crews. And speaking about competition, you can see a lot of that now happening towards the north there, as the teams are looking to get right into the action here.
Ooh. All right. That was very quick response there. Well played by Sheridan. Really well played there, but I mean, 2 versus 1 on that knocked scale. You got those reinforcements coming in really, really quick. I mean, Sheridan, they did kind of stop the bleeding, but I don't know how long they can keep that flow away. I think this might be a difficult one for them, because not only do they have that player rezzing that knocked player, but they've also started that surround play, and Alabama doing the exact same thing here.
Well, up comes the push now. Alabama going to be looking to see if they can just get on in and get the ball rolling here. Capilano A going to be on a heavy defensive as Alabama starts to push on in. Phoenix now trying to lock it in with that DBS. DBS already doing quite a bit of damage. DS12K now also coming into the swing here. Phoenix just ducking and diving out the windows quick. A little bit of a wraparound trying to sneak up the approach. 2 players already going to be down for the side here of Alabama. 2 players left for the side of Capilano. This could be quite a decisive play, and it is, as Capilano take out Alabama, and off they go. The fight also not done just yet, as we can see. It is going to be Western U continuing to apply the pressure now as they push on forward onto Sheridan, but both teams in quite a bit of a back and forth here. I mean, Sheridan, or Western U rather, now just holding on to 2 players. They've got 24 and 18. That's all they have left, looking to pull the team through. But, I mean, looking at what has been happening here for Sheridan, this could still maybe be on the cards for them.
Absolutely could if they play this right. Western U definitely still have a shot at this, and this is a really precarious position for 24, right? I mean, look at it. He's on his own practically. Yes, he's got his teammate, but there's a lot of distance there. There's no real use for him other than that Overwatch, especially when those nades start coming through, and 24 goes down very, very low. Teen's not looking so good himself in that department, so Sheridan might just have the upper hand here simply because of those numbers and because of those health bars.
Well, we'll see whether or not that is going to be the case as we continue now. Wait to see if Western U will decide to push on forward. Sheridan looking like they're going to try and maybe hunker down here, right? Not getting too aggressive, and there's of course no reason for them to do that, right? Hunkering down, I think, is going to be the best play for them. Slowly work their way, keeping a defensive positioning here, just kind of poking and prodding over to the opposing side there, right? Because that's essentially what Western U will try and do. They're going to try and hold on to those points. Toxic Kid, looking like the vehicle didn't quite render in, so it looked like they were just kind of sliding their way over the grass. That could be quite itchy, I think. But yeah, now it's going to be Middlesex County getting ready for their own bit of action here as they push up onto Georgian College.
Yes, indeed, aren't they just? And this is a nice little backstab here. Georgian weren't looking for them here. And Middlesex County, they definitely have the element of surprise there. Yeah, definitely vehicles aren't rendering in. That's quite funny. But yeah, they definitely got the upper hand there. The element of surprise is working out for them. But can Georgian bounce back here? So far, no. Slayer goes down. Just Toxic and Zeus. Toxic Kid goes down. Zeus is the last man standing, and not for much longer. Out they go. That was very easy for Middlesex County to actually get that done.
Yeah, well played though. Georgian, they tried, but unfortunately, things weren't going their way. At least they've been able to secure a decent amount of points, right? They were on double-digit points coming into this match, so it's not the worst finish for them for the first day, but it does give them a decent bit of grounding to move forward into the next day's games. And here we have it, Sheridan. So going to be looking up the hill. Camp Charlie is still well within this current zone. Let's see, will it be within the next? And the answer is yes. So this is where it's going to get interesting. Like, will Western U now get a little bit impatient and start testing things out? Because it does seem like that's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah, it looks like they've already gotten impatient. Teen has to fall back. I think he's going to try and wrap around, get his teammate, but I'm not sure that's really the best course of action. Yeah, I think he's just going to have to book it, get out of there, and just live to fight another day. Maybe get a boat across over to caves or to docks. No one's over on that side, so he'd be well and truly on his own for majority of the game. But we're going to be seeing now how these teams move in, right? You've got one team over by Trifecta. They have to move into zone. I'm pretty sure there's still somebody out in the blue somewhere. Yep, out to the north side. You see them there, just peeking through. So there's a couple of teams still having to make their way in. I believe there's somebody on the island as well. And yeah, we're going to be seeing, because right now everybody's pretty nicely spaced out. But once you add a couple more teams in, this is where it gets hectic.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty toasty. So there's also still a good opportunity for the zone to shift up into that cave positioning. So that could maybe be a thing here, as you said. Coming into this match, cave would be an interesting spot for that zone to move towards. Thing though, that's going to be one of those teams, so that is going to be Seneca B up to the north, up in Tatmok, the team that we are waiting to see their blue zone evasion come through, as the teams aren't pressured all too much. It's still phase number 2, so the blue is just being slightly suggestive as to, you know, the damage it is doing to these squads. And it does seem, at least for the time being, that not all is over just yet here for the side of Western U. Yeah,
they're really holding for that placement point now, as they should. It's the last game, right? If you're not going to go out in a blaze of glory with all those elim points, then you better be getting those placement points at least. For Sheridan, though, 3 points on the board so far. They're well within zone. They're looking pretty good. They kind of look like they want to move out of this position, though, and I get that temptation, but it might not be the best course of action, right? Because, you know, you've got this nice spot on the south side. No one's really here, actually, and I get the urge maybe to scout out, find that final player, or maybe just see what's going on outside world. But right now, they got a pretty good thing going.
Yeah, I think they're kind of trying to find the last player there from Western U.
Yeah.
But as we saw, they dipped out of Dodge and went down to the docks. Niagara, though, also finding themselves with a little bit of peace and tranquility over here. Not quite sure if everything's going to start cascading into chaos soon, or if it's just going to go in an opposite direction. Of course, we'll find out momentarily, as phase 3 is just about 30 seconds away. But now it is going to be action and go time. Woohoo! Seneca. I think this is Seneca A, potentially. We'll find out soon. Now, finding themselves right here alongside Sheridan. So Yeah, you warned Sheridan that they should maybe just hold and not really look to do all too much just yet. And Seneca C, they've now found them along the way. And this is where things could maybe go south for either of these two squads.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma here because Sheridan, they didn't do too much, right? They just moved up onto that hillside, which arguably is the better scouting position, right? That's, you got more high ground, you've got a better scope of the area, so they didn't do too badly there. But Seneca C really just able to surprise them on that hillside, using those angles to their advantage. And it might just be Sheridan's saving grace that they did let Teen slide, because now they got that third party coming in that has really distracted Seneca.
Yeah. So this could be the final upset then for 18. Maybe this could be the end of the road then for Western U, at least for today. Seneca C keeping it nice and steady, very patiently awaiting some kind of a play, but they all need to reposition. As we can see, the zone is centered up towards Quarry itself, and that is going to pose quite a bit of a challenge to a majority of these teams, especially I think with the rotations coming through from the southern side. There's a few interesting stops along the way, but you still want to try and get into a very overpowering position as quickly as you can. Speaking of which, though, look what we have happening over on towards the western side there. Things are getting pretty close and sweaty.
They absolutely are. I was watching that as well, and it's really tit for tat here. Seneca A. No elims at the moment. Oh, Fury catches on fire, though. That's not good at all, and no, he is going to go on down as KSU able to pick him up. Not quite. Misses. He does miss there. Onto Fury, sorry. I thought that said Fairy for a second. But Kent State able to just roll on through, and that's going to be their second elimination as they move on into zone. It looks like they're just kind of going to let him slide, look for the rest of the team, and move into zone. Because again, when it's the final game, zone is the priority.
Well, let's see if there will be any fury coming through from the side here of Seneca A, as they are now trying to figure out what the approach will be. Babyface, gonna keep a bit of an angle here, bit of overwatch while Punk moves up for that race, trying to bring the team back onto at least a 3-piece. Meanwhile, Seneca B, though, keeping a very tight angle as they just looking into the side of, I believe, Capilano A that we have lying in the compound. Just big ol' chillin'. Yeah, it is going to be Capilano A. Trying to make as little noise as possible. Niagara moving in behind them as well as the team start to trickle on through. Starting to get closer and closer, moving in towards the quarry region here. But where will they go? And who will be the next one to kick off a bit of that snowball effect here? Because looking at how these teams are positioned, it's only going to be that one engagement that's required to kick off this whole thing, right? 12 teams in stage 4. I mean, come on, there's not going to be that much space there for anybody to move in. I mean, this is Sanhok, right? This is not Erangel or Miramar. This is Sanhok. So stage 4 is only that big.
Yeah, it's about the size of my thumb, DK, and it is all going down on that space. Yeah, you heard. I see you trying to figure it out. You heard me. But there we go, as St. Clair gonna be moving on up against Seneca A, right? Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Akash moving front and forward with that M4, just really pushing it. We saw this from them in the last game as well, but Akash goes out early. That back fired very, very quickly there. Now Demon is looking for that next play. He hits the hay and is looking for something, but isn't going to get it, so that's a flush quickly returned there for taking out Akash. But Akash, from Miramar, was their star player, and now Sran goes down, and it's just tit for tat. It's a nice little nade, but I think it just goes a little too far down that hill.
It's that snowball effect that I was talking about. We gotta love this, though. Sinclair looking to do so much.
Very nice.
Beautiful molly there from Mahal. Mahal absolutely on fire. The utility just so pinpoint accurate. Punk now trying to survive, but unfortunately getting those tires popped out, and that is going to be Thunder locking in the spray. Babyface and Fury now the final two left here for the squad of Seneca. Hey, looking to make a bit of a difference, looking for a bit of an option, approach to get themselves situated back into this phase. But things are looking quite challenging here as they opt to maybe test the water towards the western front. You gotta love the zone because teams are gonna get absolutely brutal. We just see Kent State also now just starting to pop off in the feed, but here comes the spray as Niagara rushes in, and that is gonna be just absolute disruption all over the place.
My goodness me, we're really starting to get into it now, as this zone is pushing everybody in all at once, and it's not what they wanted, but it's what they're getting in Niagara, trying to make the most of it. One Elam on the board so far. That's going to be a brilliant spray as well coming through. Nicely done there, and now we've got Sheridan moving in into that South Quarry side, picking up a couple of eliminations here and there, and it's just, we're ping-ponging everywhere, DK, just because the action has begun, and it's begun with a vengeance.
Oh, yes, and we love to see that. Oh, look at the sprays, though. Thunder.
Oh.
And Don just poking across the way. They do find Babyface. As the shot is there, Fury quickly moving in to bring their teammate back to up to their feet. Of course, Niagara now getting brought down to a potential one piece. Look at this, Lord. A nice little bit of chilling out in the quarry. Very interesting plays that we are seeing right here. Sting also from Seneca B. Still very much in contention here. And speaking about contention, so is that Amazon gift card up at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
So be sure to get your hands on that. Go grab it as quick, fast as you can. Once you've gotten it and it says, well done, let us know in the chat, right? So we can congratulate you as well and maybe even give you an imaginary high five, right? Because those also count for something somewhere. I don't know where.
Totally.
Yeah.
Those are DK's favorite kinds of high fives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're virtually unavoidable.
Very true.
Yeah.
Much like death is to Sting Hope, rip that guy. Sheridan going on out there. Nicely played. Well played, but it ain't gonna work. Niagara also going out. Here we go. The teams are starting to drop now, DK. We're down to 9 teams only.
Gotta love it though. So Ruthless now also keeping a very, very close angle here for Kent State. I mean, Kent, yeah, they've not been crazily active so far today. We did see them, coming in with 7 points into this match, but they've had a relatively quiet approach so far. So I'm curious as to how they're going to look to finish up this game. And of course, from what we can see right here, they are sitting quite comfortably with those 4 eliminations. I say a somewhat decent position up towards the north. They've not yet been able to secure themselves within the zone, but that is going to happen within these next few moments as we are approaching stage number 7 pretty soon. Psycho, though, coming up with those crazy sprays yet again, does end the run right there for Sinclair. Is going to be NAIT also just having their bags backed up for them. And now with 6 teams left, this is where things are going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say, though, Middlesex County has a really good position in this zone. They have got, again, it comes down to that monopoly on the final zones, and oh, that's not good at all. There we go, Capilano B getting taken out. They have a no monopoly over anything. So that's KSU coming to get rid of them. So very nicely done there. Humbert now does go out as well. And Seneca A starting to feel the burn a little bit there. Down to a solo they go. But man, Middlesex County have 9 eliminations now. Seneca B go on out, and we are just down to 3 teams left.
It's going to be a pretty crazy play as we move now into the final stretch of the day here. And it's close. Right, we still have, 9 left, so that's an average of 3 per team. I say that when we look at Seneca A, and it's just Babyface moving about here, trying to survive as best they can. They got about 30 seconds of rustling in the grass before that blue zone is going to start nipping at their heels. Oh, Middlesex trying to reach across the way. Did you find Ninja? Trunks, beautiful spray, closing the door right there. Look at this though, Middlesex on 12 eliminations so far.
And Trunks on 6 of those. He's gotten half of that total elimination count. So huge game for both him and his team, but Trunks goes out. As I say that, Babyface able to kick out the MVP, or potential MVP, that's for sure, but that's a 1v1. No, it's not. It's an easy win for Middlesex County.
I mean, Middlesex, they decided, you know what, it's about time, right? We've got 9 points on the board. Why not look to go crazy? And they did exactly that, coming through with an absolutely phenomenal way to close up the last match of the day. A winner chicken dinner in hand.
Yep.
And they did a great job. So Middlesex Country doing pretty good job right then and there. Gotta love it. But of course, well, we need to see, has it been enough to upset those standings, right? Because as we know, coming into this match, Sinclair, Seneca B, both sitting with 29 points. And
very true.
Both teams tried. They tried quite a bit in this last match to secure additional points. But we'll know only once we see exactly what that point situation is, whether or not Middlesex County has done enough to upset it. And I mean, we did see the likes of Alabama also trying quite a bit. Kent State also upping the ante, playing a little bit more of a tactical game here, moving into these later few stages. So I'm curious to see where this goes. But of course, first up, we've got to take a stop and see who our MVP is for this match. It is going to be none other than Trunks, who slammed dunked all the way in, coming through with a very strong finish here. I mean, Middlesex County, no surprise, yes.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But when you think about how he has 6 out of the 13 eliminations, I think we kind of knew what was coming there. But very well done from this team. They really pulled it out of the bag, and they just dominated that final end zone. And Quarry is notoriously hard to win. It's a very difficult end zone to have on Sanhok. And so you see that in the points as well, reflected there. They have bridged that gap. They're into 3rd place, and they've got quite a nice gap in between them and 4th.
Yeah, I mean, they jumped all the way from 9th into 3rd place, right? So that is quite a bit of a leap, quite a bit of a jump that they've brought through on this one. So yeah, well done, well deserved. Great play, great performance coming in here from them. Gotta love this for the teams though, and things are looking pretty spicy, right? As the teams continue to just keep pushing the envelope as best they can. But you gotta love it, right? That has now been the first day of the action, right?
Yep.
Teams looking to get themselves to go to, I would not say the extremes, but doing a lot of hard work to establish quite a bit of a good foundation moving into that last day, right? Yep. Middlesex County, of course, being a good example of it, doing exactly that. So I'm curious to see what the final day is going to be bringing. Do you have any predictions or outcomes that you think we might have moving into tomorrow's games?
I think a lot of the teams in the middle range of the leaderboard are going to make a big comeback. I think the points are very easy. Easy in the way that one game gets you into 3rd place, one really good game gets you to 3rd. So I think a lot of those teams will have seen that, be encouraged by that, and they will definitely be back for tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Sounds like a fair assessment, and I think I might maybe potentially almost agree with that. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be all the teams in the middle. Maybe it could still be one of the teams that are set a little bit further down the board, right? Because we just saw a ridiculous jump coming through. Yes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what these teams are going to be doing tomorrow. But I think on that one, of course, we are going to end it right here for the teams as for the day as well. So if you want to show the last little bit of love for the teams in the chat, do that now or wait until tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll be back at same time, same place, same map rotation, same teams, but even more PUBG Mobile action. Yes, and of course, the same 2 of us here as well, right? The 2 of us, that's it. Until then, I'm going to end it because it's getting awkward right now. So we'll see you guys back again tomorrow. And yeah, until later.
Have you come across this new type of token in your battles? Let me show you how you can get more of them. Time tokens can be found in both themed mode and classic mode. When you win a match, you can leave with all the time tokens in your backpack. However, if you get eliminated, you'll lose 20% of the time tokens in your possession. But is winning matches the only way to get loads of tokens? Not at all. You can use the supply shop's upload feature to take them out in advance. You can take out up to 40 time tokens per day. The most efficient way to collect time tokens is to head straight for the themed area, where there's a higher chance of finding them. It's also filled with supplies, so you're likely to run into other players. Defeat them to get some of their time tokens. Once you've got your tokens, head to the perk shop to exchange them for rewards. Available rewards this period include the Camel Superfan set, 7th Anniversary set, and Duneshine Dacia Level 1. Exchange your leftover time tokens for perk tokens to use them for future perk shop rewards. Collect time tokens in the game now, so you don't miss out on any rewards.